Hey everybody, welcome back. We are here with our season 2 recap, and we've got 2 special guests today. We've got 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗀, our producer, and we've got Todd from SPI. Both guys have been behind the scenes with all the action, so stay tuned.
And we're back. This is the Ghost Hunting Beauties podcast. And go.
Regretting this decision to have you as a guest. Like suddenly he's edited out. So what am I supposed to do now? Now you made me nervous. What am I?
You're about to ghost me.
Stop. You're making this twice as long.
He's having too much damn fun with it.
Yes, because he does these all the time. He does podcasts.
This is what happens when I go in
regularly.
front of the camera. That's why I stay behind the camera all the time.
Yes, I can like a jackass all the time. Hope that's recorded. Welcome back, everybody. Like I said, we've got 2 special guests with us today. We've got 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗀, which is my husband, also producer, editor, sound, okay, you name it, the long list, he does it. And he's got Todd here from SPI. This is the man behind the scenes. He's also working cameras, working sound. He's learned to do it all. So hope you're ready. Welcome, guys. So glad to have you on today. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
You're most welcome.
So this is going to be difficult. I think I've maybe done 1 podcast with my husband, but not for Ghost Hunting Beauties.
Yeah. So fun story. Let me tell this one already. So we were in season 1 filming this, and I'm like, okay, we got to get content, right? We just got to bust through this thing to start building this channel, and we just got to get content. So I'm like, you know what would be a great idea is to have me on this podcast with you talking about the behind the scenes challenges and things. And she goes, that's great. No, thank you.
I'm like, that's a true story.
No, thank you. What do you mean? What do you mean, no, thank you? I'm producing all this. I'm doing this. I'll help you build this content. She's like, no, I'd rather just keep women on this show. So now we've gone 40 some odd episodes or whatever. And she finally goes, you know what? I finally agree to letting you on this episode. Only if Todd is on it with you.
Aha!
And if Todd's not on it, I don't want you. And I'm like, fantastic. So thank you, Todd. Thank you for getting me finally in front of the camera from behind the camera. I know behind the camera, kind of hides the ugly, but at least we got.
Wow.
At least, so I feel all special today, but it's only because of Todd.
I feel so warm and fuzzy now.
Glad I could help. Better than a shot of whiskey.
What, really?
Okay, that was a lie, but I like Todd.
What did I get myself into? Okay.
Fun times.
Fun times. It's always shenanigans. All right. So again, thank y'all for coming on. I know it's usually women on the show, so I'm glad to have the guys behind the scenes. And I know that y'all have experienced some crazy stuff. So Todd, you jumped in on season 2. What were your thoughts as soon as Amy told you, come on this show? I mean, be real, be honest. It's okay.
I didn't know really what I was getting into. So now we know. But hey, it was very different, very enjoyable. I learned a lot of things about filming and stuff. And as far as the other stuff, you never know what to expect. It just happens.
Right. So you've seen other ghost shows. What other ghost shows have you experienced watching?
I don't really like to name them.
Oh.
Give
me one good one. One that you like.
Ghost Hunting Beauties.
But stop.
Hey, I've seen that one.
No matter what he says, I'm going to dub that in post.
He's gonna post.
I really like Ghost Hunting Beauties.
Wow, really?
I did watch season 1 of Ghost Hunting Beauties. I liked it. I think it's come a long way from where it started. I see it getting better and better and better with each episode that it goes. Actually, I don't really watch that many ghost shows at the house.
Right.
I live them.
Yes,
every
exactly.
weekend.
Right. So tell me a little bit about, you seen the show. Did you know what it was like and how much goes into filming and producing and holding microphones and all that fun stuff?
I had no idea how much work it went into putting sound and light. Thanks to James, I've showed him I can be like Spider-Man and disappear and hold a microphone on the ceiling.
Oh my God. Like climbing on the ceiling.
Yeah, I did that.
That's a true story. So we were filming one of the episodes for season 2, and I go, Todd, we're in this antique shop and there's a lot of breakable shit here. So what we're going to have to do, and we don't have the room to set up the normal boom stands that we have and all of this. We didn't have it, and I didn't want to take that chance, right? And so I go, Todd, we have a boom pole, but it's a manual boom pole.
So you told him to hold your pole?
What I need you to do, I did. I'm like, Todd, I got this big black pole for you. I need you to hold it in your hands over your head, right? And I need you to balance on one foot on a staircase for an hour like this. And that's all you can do. And he's like, I'll do it. Todd's a trooper. And he did. I'll be damned. He held that damn thing for an hour like this. And I'm like,
with enthusiasm.
You know, and I'm like, Todd, you know that was a joke, right? You didn't have to balance on the staircase.
Wow.
Then I literally disappeared up the staircase so I wouldn't be in the shot.
So he was Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was. So that's a true story.
Oh my God. Yep, there's definitely, like I said, I've never filmed a reality show or a ghost hunting show or any show. So all of this kind of stuff is combining all of these things with trying to investigate and then trying to incorporate all of us with our scenes. So what was that like for you, James? Tell me when I threw you into this. I mean, you could be honest here. We're among friends.
Where do I start?
Oh, wow.
No. How about the beginning? It's always a good place. And so if you've been watching this podcast, you've probably heard the story about how the Ghost Hunting Beauties got started. So when Angela originally came up with this idea, she goes, James, I want to film a ghost show. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so
he'd seen no ghost shows, like zero.
Yeah, I'd seen about 15 minutes of one ghost show and I'm like, this is fake and stupid and I hate it. And so yeah, not pulling any punches today.
Wow. I'm canceled.
They'll cancel me too. Don't worry. Anyway, so I go, okay, if we want to do this, there's really two ways that we can attack this, right? We can either go just like the organic way. You can do it with your cell phones, all like the 𝗬𝗲𝗵𝗴𝗵𝗱 type of thing. It will go over really well because you and the ladies have such big personalities. I know that you can make this happen. Or we can try and go the really, really polished professional route. And where we can try to tell a really in-depth story. We can try and shoot it very cinematically with all this B-roll. We can try and set up, crystal clear audio. And, we can really try to make something that would be seen on TV.
Right.
Or even exceed some of the stuff that we've seen on TV. Because we started watching some ghost shows at that point. I'm like, okay.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, Angela, what direction do you want to do? And, secretly in the back of my mind, I'm going, oh my God, please do the cell phone. Please do the cell phone. Please do the cell phone. She goes, I want to do the polished version. And I'm just like, damn it, in my head. But I'm like, okay, let's tackle this. Because I've never been one to shy away from a challenge. And so.
It's true. He likes challenges.
Nah, and that's.
He married me.
I can tell. I can see that. I've learned.
And so that's how we started. And so I go, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And I forgot what your original question was at this point. Just I've been going off on my own tangent. But anyway, so we keep going. Don't worry, I can go all day.
Oh, God.
So we start filming and then we go, okay, we're going to try and put all of this story together and all these interviews and all this B-roll. And we're going to try and do it in 8 hours.
And then I go, and you edit it.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten to that point. So what we learned from after the very first episode is it takes a whole lot more than 8 hours to put one of these episodes together. So much so that we've probably expanded it out to 2 to 3 days. We usually have a day for pre-production and interviews and things like that. We have a day exclusively for B-roll at this point, and then we have a day for ghost hunting. And all of that combined takes, 20 hours? Well, probably more than that. Probably about
a lot.
40 hours of recording, which you don't ever guess that 40 hours of recording goes into a 44-minute television show.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I think what he's saying is it's a lot.
It's a whole lot.
That's what I was getting into. I think that's what your question was.
And it would be a whole lot harder if you didn't have Todd here.
Exactly.
Right?
So we can talk about how Todd came along, right?
Yeah, so Todd, how did you get into this mess?
Todd?
Well, I think it just sort of happened. I said one day to Amy, I said, hey, James needs some help down. Let me go down there and help James out. She goes, yeah, he could use some help because I'm too short to hold this microphone pole. If you could come help out, that'd be great. So I came in and helped out. Like, I kind of like this. I'd like to do a little more of this. This is enjoyable.
Yeah, well, thank you. And it's definitely been a big help. And plus, we love having you there because, so I can say with season 2 being a lot more active than season 1, you jumped in when it started getting really active. So you have seen and experienced some stuff. So take me through, we'll start at the beginning, Wonderlick Farm. Wonderlick Farm, you were there behind the scenes. What did you experience that we didn't capture on camera?
I guess the one with the Lynette. I mean, we were moving from one house to the next, and she started walking like a little angry kid. And she's kicking rocks, like your 10-year-old you told you couldn't have the toy at the store. And I'm like, that's just not right.
You're like, that's suspicious.
Yeah. So I'm watching her, and I should have thought more of it, and I didn't. But, well, we see where that went. So,
right. Well, it's hard to gauge sometimes. I mean, like I said, you have a lot of experience. How long have you been with SPI?
Since October of last year.
Very nice. So has it been a pretty cool adventure?
It has been a ride.
Right. I was going to say, you jumped in with a team that's doing the hardest of the hard, of like the hardest of the hard of the hard, like the most intense stuff I've ever seen. Like, I've met paranormal investigators who've gone in, and SPI, like, they're just the most badass team. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. You guys are the badasses. So you jumped in on the badass team, and what is the difference with the investigations you've been on so far versus the show? Because a lot of people don't know a lot of the difference. They think that they're the same thing, or that, oh, I've seen what SPI does. It's like, no, you haven't. So tell me a little bit about the difference.
Well, the difference is the show. I mean, sure, there's investigation there. Y'all are using basic investigation techniques, basically like we did, but it's You're going to a public place, something a lot of people know about.
Right.
You're gathering evidence, you're filming it for the show, you're putting out a production for a show, and you get some good footage out of it, and you're still investigating. The difference is we work with private personal clients, and it's nothing like this. We're helping people, dead and alive, get to where they need to be, kids from being scared, things like that, helping families, their private clients. I mean, it's nothing like going to a public place to film, an investigation for a show.
Exactly. Because a lot of people have confused the two of us, that SPI is their own thing. And especially, because people, if they come to us, like you got to talk to them if you want to come out, because a lot of what we do is producing, like if you would agree with me, James, for a lot of entertainment. It's a lot more lighthearted. So that's why with season 2, a lot of stuff started happening that I didn't expect, because Wonderlick Farm, was supposed to be kind of nice and calm. And as you saw, not always nice and calm.
Well, even somewhere public, something else can come in and you see what we end up with.
Exactly. Because I think things come before us. And same for you, James. Did you expect a lot of that at Wonderlick Farm?
No, not at all. And so, especially after season 1, because there's a lot of things that you don't see behind the camera, and even from the camera that is in front of the camera, we cut out just for the pacing of the show, right? Because we said we film for 40 hours to do a 40-minute TV show. Well, these ghost scenes that we film are generally an hour long-ish, and then we'll cut it down to 7 minutes. And so, again, it's still like that 10x rule, right? And so, a lot of season 1, we were looking at flashlights, and we were really just starting to dip our toe into what the paranormal is and does and things like that. And so when we get ready for season 2, I'm like, okay, well, I hope we do more than what we did in season 1. That way we can pick up the pace a little bit and maybe have a little bit more of an entertaining show or whatever. And then just from the day we hit the ground running on this show, and it's like, oh my gosh, non-stop stuff happening. And
on camera and off.
I know, and there's always way more stuff that happens off camera than on camera, and it's the
always.
Right. But we still capture quite a bit this season, which is really, really exciting. And especially for someone who's what I like to say, a healthy skeptic, like I am.
That's the big skeptic right there.
There's a lot of it that needs to be seen to be believed, and I can definitely tell you from doing 2 seasons of this show, my mind has expanded.
I'm glad to hear that, because definitely I've always been a big believer, but I go in with an open mind, but I see it from a skeptical point first. So do you find yourself with seeing it skeptical as well first? Like, how do you approach when you go into a case with SPI, for example?
I always go in skeptical, but I'm not expecting any particular thing, and I'm not looking for any particular thing. I'm just going to take it as it comes and deal with it from there.
Right.
I'm not going to expect anything, you don't want to try to lead yourself, oh, well, this must be that, or this must be that. You just have to see where it goes.
For sure. For sure.
No assumptions.
Right. So being in this field and doing what you do you have a lot of family support with this? How does your wife feel about the paranormal? Because I know that with me doing this, he's been supportive, but it's a lot on him as well. Him being the skeptic, we're kind of the opposites.
It was a bit rough for her at first because, we're busy. I'm gone every weekend. Your husband's gone Friday night. He's gone Saturday night. After working all week long. She wants me to be there, but she understands this is not just something I do for fun. This is a passion for me, something that means a lot for me. So she supports me 100% in it. And she was a non-believer at one time until she seen something move across the table or a hand hold her on the back of the shoulder.
Oh,
and it scared her to death.
Where was this at?
It's at the present house we live at now.
Oh, so you are currently living a haunted life then?
I have been pretty much all my life.
Wow. So this is a calling for you. This is not an option. This is your calling.
It is. And I never knew I would even be into this unless it got so bad for my daughter that we had to call a team in. Well, it happened to be SPI.
Yep, there you go.
And then it was our house, and then it's me. So I'm actually a former client.
Wow. So that's how you guys met.
And kind of it just sort of slipped in there, and that's how it happened. I wasn't looking for this. This is nothing I ever strive to do.
Definitely. And so they were able to help you as well.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. So was your wife believer after that, after SPI comes in and she sees what they do?
Yeah, she was a believer before that, but she's a solid, firm believer after that. And now she really is, because with this, as you know, stuff follows us home.
Right.
So I'm getting phone calls. Please come deal with this.
Oh, man. Man, that's rough. I completely understand. We've had the same thing with us. I think that's what kind of made you even more of a believer. Like, I'm sure you're open-minded, right?
Yes, for sure.
Especially after it followed us home.
Yeah, that's a fun story too. So, but to answer the first question, when you start doing something like this, it makes you start to question, and especially if you're a more sciencey based person.
Right.
And just, for perspective, I was a firefighter EMT for years. I've had people die in my hands. Like I've seen the life cycle of life. Right. And so feeling the difference or feeling the spirits, I've always been open to it, but hesitant on it, I guess. And then just some of the things that we've seen, it started off with the flashlights, and we're like, oh man, that's really cool. Like, and then I'm like, debunk it for me. And we had a sciencey friend, and he's like, the only way I could see it is that it heats up and expands it, and that when it expands it, it short circuits the light. I'm like, then why wouldn't it do it more consistently?
Correct.
Right. And so I'm like, debunk it for me. That's what I want to know, because
you
that's
were
where
looking
I
for the answers.
I'm looking for the answers, and at some point, it's just. It goes beyond the understanding of what we can do, and I try to to justify it with logic or at least my limited knowledge of science.
Right, which you should at first.
Right, exactly. And which I love those theories too, but it just makes more... there's things that we've seen that doesn't make sense. As an example...
That can't be explained.
When we were in Yorktown filming that episode, I'm filming B-roll in the next room. You are in a room full of people, and then all of a sudden your beanie is pulled off your head and there's nobody around you, and everybody sees it. And I'm like, how do you explain that? Like you
we'll
can't.
Definitely get to that story, because because Todd was the witness to that one. That one we're saving the best for last, because that one was crazy. Like Todd was the witness to that because it came for him first, and I was and then I went ha ha. See, that's what I get for going ha ha. It came for you, Todd.
Laugh again.
Right, and then he's like ha ha. No, but it's definitely been, I think, life changing for me. Has it been life changing for you since you started working for SPI?
It has, and it came in a time of my life where I was really in limbo. Work, home, work, home.
Right.
It gave me a purpose again.
Very nice.
So, I mean, it has just launched me. I'm happier than I am now than I have been in over a decade.
Because you're helping people.
I'm helping people.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, that's got to be a good feeling. I mean, you've seen what you come up with these clients that are in desperate need. From what I've heard from stories from Amy and from the girls, the stuff they've encountered, that these people are sometimes get to a point of desperation.
Absolutely.
And that's where y'all come in. So what would you say your role is on the team?
I think I have several roles. I mean, I'm still learning, of course, to do the investigations. I'm kind of an auditory. I can hear things that other people can't hear.
Oh, wow.
Which is a thing I didn't even know was a thing.
Right.
You know, I just get a little better at it, a little stronger at it the more and more I do it.
More experience.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say I have a role. I'm also kind of a, watching out for everybody, kind of a protector sort of role, I guess you would call it. You know, to make sure nobody's getting messed with in either form or fashion. So, I mean, I have dual roles, multiple roles, triple roles. I mean,
yeah, wearing many hats, so to speak.
So to speak, yes.
Very nice. So has there ever been a time that you can talk about that was on a case that you had to be in the protective role?
As in on shooting the show or on a personal
We'll
case?
start with the show.
Well, when Amy can't be in two places at one time all the time, so I try to keep a good eye on Lynette. I've got to where I can kind of look at her and go, something's not quite right there. What are you doing, Lynette?
Right, because Lynette's a medium, so then things can come after her, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. So you feel like you're kind of the big brother?
I guess you could say so.
There we go. Big brother looking out, and you have the auditory. So can you expand a little more on that with the auditory skills?
It's kind of hard to explain.
I was like, are you hearing them now?
Somebody, like say you might be able to see something that I'm not seeing. He might be able to feel something that I'm not feeling or you're feeling, whereas I can actually hear something that neither one of you are hearing, but I can hear it.
Very nice. Is it usually spirit speaking or?
It normally like that. It sounds like a music playing in the background, like two rooms over or something. You got to kind of really tune into it. It's hard to explain.
Interesting. So you can hear music, you can hear people talking. How does that help on the investigations as well?
Sometimes it gets a little noisy.
Oh, man. But does it help with the evidence and everything as well?
It does, but that's more what I would call a personal level on it, because, I mean, you can't record that.
Right.
Nobody, you don't have it on film, you don't have it on a recorder, so it's more of a personal experience. It
Definitely.
just helps move in the direction we're trying to look for.
Oh, that's neat. So maybe it can draw you to a certain room or something where you need to look further?
Something like that. That or trying to get a message or a point across, or sometimes I get names.
Oh, really? Now that's definitely helpful, especially if you're investigating somewhere and they don't know who's with them. So
I've got a couple right pretty good.
Oh, that's really neat. I was gonna say, I'll have to ask you before you leave. It's like, do you sense any here with the haunted podcast room?
Yeah, they gotta want to do it though. It's not like I just go, let me tune into that and it happens.
Exactly. But that's really neat. At least they feel comfortable enough to communicate with you. So I bet that's a huge asset.
It helps. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your first case with SBI.
My very first case, I was throwing my feet into the fire. We actually did a really long drive and did a demonic exorcism of property in a house.
Whoa! On case one?
Case one.
Wow. Man. Holy crap. So did you know that's what you were getting into? Were you prepped before you went?
I kind of knew what I was getting into. Not all of it. But, yeah, I pulled the big protector role in that one.
There you go. That's why I said big brother coming in.
And I was told most people that come into the team won't even come around that case for at least 2 years or more.
Yeah, that's heavy. I mean, that's I guess
it says she trusts me.
Right. For sure. Like I said, I know that Amy's very selective of who's on her team because, I mean, a lot of people go out there and they all want to be investigators. They all want to join teams, but I think it takes very special people to be on very special teams.
This is a very special team.
For sure. So give me your first impression. We go to Wonderlick Farm. You have an experience with Lynette. You see the activity, everything changing. So you go and kick into gear. What is your role at that point? Like, are you protecting Lynette? Are you protecting the team? Like, what do you do at that point?
I'm protecting Lynette because I'm looking after her. Michelle's always really solid. She's so solid. She's just like a rock over there. I'm like, Michelle's got Michelle. She's
right.
Good. And Amy's always trying to look out for everybody else at the same time. And that particular time, she couldn't. So
Right. For sure. So you stepped in, which was really helpful. So James, did you notice that while you were filming that anything else, do you see things going on behind the scenes while you're filming? Because I know I'm focused and everybody's got their role. So what is your role during all this?
Where do you want me to start?
At the beginning.
I don't pay as much attention to the people around me because there's a lot I'm trying to accomplish in a very short amount of time. I'm trying to make sure that our scenes are set up appropriately. I'm trying to make sure that the lighting's set up, that the audio's set up, so at any given time we're running 6 cameras, we're running night vision cameras, we're running 4 to 5 different audio sources. We have lights. We're making sure that people don't trip over things. We have making sure that all the equipment's working. We're making sure that there aren't people walking into the scene from behind or anything like that. So there's a lot of moving parts going on at the show at any given time. So I don't necessarily go, oh, something's happening with Lynette, or Amy's a little off. But at some point you're like, okay, time to film the next scene. And then I go to talk to whoever's in the next scene and they're like, hey, I'm not well. I'm like, well, that's different. Right. And I'll go into EMT mode and I'm like, oh, are you having a heart attack? Right.
Stroke test.
Yeah. And stroke test people, make sure they can still smile. But no, I guess I don't notice a whole lot going on with people outside of my small interactions with them because I'm a fairly focused guy. I laser like focus on the thing that I'm doing. And so I guess the answer to that question is not really.
No, that's why I said I wondered if your background being a firefighter EMT has you to where you triage. Is that where your focus gets into play? Of triage, it's film, do this, go to the next scene, and setting up?
No, that's from being an entrepreneur and a business owner, is that the way to be successful is you have to time block. And that's the way you get a lot accomplished in a very short amount of time, is you go from 9 a.m. to 9:30, I'm doing only this task. And then you have 30 minutes to get that task done. And when you do that, you don't get distracted by checking the emails and working on the next client and doing the sales, because you're focused on only one task. And so, we've owned our own business for 7 or 8 years at this point, and I've just gotten in the habit of doing that. And so that's where that laser-like focus comes in, unless I don't need to have laser-like focus. But knowing that we're trying to accomplish 40 hours of filming, and we really try and push that into, sometimes 24 hours, it takes laser-like focus to accomplish the goal.
No, he's like a beast running around there, over here, over there, and all of a sudden he's like, all right, Todd, I need you to...
And then...
Where the hell did Todd go? He's out there with Lynette.
Right.
And these are pretty intense shooting days too, and Todd can attest to this. I'm sure he didn't realize what he was getting into, but it's like we start filming at sometimes 10 a.m. in the morning, and we don't stop filming until 6 a.m. the next morning.
Oh, yeah.
And I literally have no break other than to grab some chips or something that I'm eating on the way to the next scene, and then maybe take a potty break or something every now and then. But
did you say potty, really?
I'm a dad, what can I say?
Really? You said potty? You can say bathroom, it's okay.
Take a bathroom break then. But
I'm just glad you used your words.
Yeah. And so sometimes it's filming for literally 20 hours straight.
Right.
And so it gets to be intense.
Do you feel that how does the filming schedule, Todd, compare to when you're doing investigations? Do you feel it's more stressful doing the investigations or the filming?
Well,
I know.
It's 2 different kinds of stresses.
Exactly.
You're stressing for all the filming and everything. I'm trying to run around and learn from James some of this stuff and help him out, because he'll run around with his tongue hanging out till he falls over.
Yep, that's true. We've seen it.
And so it's stress trying to keep, what do you need? What do you need help with? What do I need to do?
Right.
It's just stress on that and getting it all shot right and everything. Now, as far as SPI cases, it's much more toned down, not so energy-wise, but it's the stress of, okay, what's wrong with the client? We're here to help them. What's going on? And there's always, something going to follow me home.
Right.
Is my wife going to call me in a minute going, something's going on?
Oh, I hate that. Is there anything that you do to protect yourself? Is there any type of thing that you want to share with anybody of what you do to protect yourself from it following you home? I can know it's not a guarantee, but something that can at least help.
I always keep my house blessed. I bless it extremely well before I go on a case, especially if I know we're going on a really bad case. Right. Because inevitably, every time we leave, I'm going to get a phone call. Matter of fact, we were doing the one demonic case, and right about the time I shut my phone off and it started really going down, we got at the restaurant later. I turned my phone on. My wife started texting me within the exact minute
Whoa.
we started doing the exorcism, saying it was running
You're
rampant
kidding.
through the house. Absolutely not.
Wow. Man. So that takes a lot of devotion to do what you do.
Yes.
Man. And bless your wife too for being so patient and loving. We are grateful for our spouses that support us through all of this, because I don't think James expected things to come home with us either. That was, like I said, him being a skeptic, he's like, sure it does. He's open-minded but skeptical, I think. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of lessons I've learned from doing this show, and that was one of them, is that things can come home with you. So I don't know if I can tell this story yet or if I'm spoiling it, but so for Yorktown as an example, it's one of the more haunted places in America. It's all the Travel Channel and all these lists, they always list it in the top 10. So I'm like, okay, there's something to this place. So when we were talking about season 2 locations, we're like, where should we go? What should we do? What can we explore? How do we expand the show beyond just what we were doing?
Right.
And
we were taking big risks.
yeah, and it was my mother of all people. She goes, you should go do Yorktown. And I'm like, what the heck is
Your
Yorktown?
mom's to blame.
I
Oh,
know.
that's it. I'm texting her tomorrow. I'm going to be
know.
like, I didn't know it was your fault, Barbara. I knew it.
And so I start
What?
looking into it, and then I learn
blame
about
Barbara.
all of this, and I'm like, okay, we should probably go do this. And then I see that all the bigger ghost hunting shows that have ever done anything, everyone goes to this place. I'm like, so I guess it's almost like a rite of passage, right?
Right.
And so that's where we decided to do it. But not thinking that I'm, again, skeptical. So I'm like, there's a demon in the chapel. Okay. Whatever.
He's like,
I got it.
sure.
And from what Amy told me from the very first day I met her, she's like, you were ghost repellent. You realize that, right? And I'm
Right.
like, sure. And
I
so I'm
think
like,
that's very true. Nothing seems to affect him.
and so I'm like, okay, it'll just be just another day. It'll be an expensive ass weekend, but at least it'll be just another day, right? And so we go do that. We go do Yorktown, and everybody.
He's not pulling any punches.
Well, what's the point of that? This is supposed to be an entertaining podcast, right? What's the point of not pulling punches? And so I'm like, okay, whatever. And so everyone had their experiences there at Yorktown. Like literally everybody that was there, even 𝗵𝗵𝗵 Paranormal, who was helping us film, which they did a fantastic job with us that weekend, and I'm so grateful for them. But even when we go to the dinner that very first night, they go, hey, you realize there's something attached to you? And Yorktown, other than the windows being broken and a little slight breeze, there's nothing. I mean, it's a closed out building,
cold.
right?
It was freezing cold.
It was freezing because the Arctic breeze came in. But I came out that
I think I
first
gave
day.
Todd like 20 packets to warm him. I was like, here, use these. Todd's like a tactical vest.
So I come out that first day and we go to dinner, and I am beat red, like much more red than I normally am, like sunburnt
He
red.
looked sunburned.
Yes.
And
He
I go,
did.
I'm like, I feel like I'm sunburnt. And they go, yeah, that happens sometimes.
And I'm like,
do you
what the
mean
hell does that
happens?"
mean?
I'm like, I've been inside for 20 hours. I haven't seen the sun all day long. And they go, there's something attached to you right now. I'm like,
And I was like, not the ghost repellent, guys. Like, if something's affecting him, then, oh my God, we need to be on guard.
Yeah, I'm
and
like,
then I
"Isn't
was
that
too cold to
something?"
be on guard.
So we fast forward, right? We get done with Yorktown, we come home, and I'll be damned if something didn't follow us home of some sort, or some energy transfer or something like that. We'd be sitting there watching TV in the living room, and then all of a sudden the bathroom toilet lid starts slamming.
Yeah,
And I only
his
happened to watch it
bathroom, not
twice.
mine.
And I wasn't in there, so there's nothing that should have been blowing anything up in there, right? And so it's just, right?
I was
And
like,
it smacks
what the
down.
hell?
I'm like, well, that's interesting. And then
At
that,
least they put the toilet seat lid down. I'm just saying.
well, I left it down in the first place. Thank you very much.
Oh, sure.
But
Then they had nothing
the
to close.
second thing that happened was in my office, we have a door that closes and nothing can get in there. And we had all of our animals accounted for, all of our humans accounted for, everything. And then all of a sudden we just hear, and my chair in my office is just
Chair
spinning
starts
around.
spinning.
And there's nothing in there that should have acted on it. So the very long-winded way of answering that question, which I guess I'm doing a lot tonight, is yes, things follow you home.
Yes.
I think it gave you a message.
Right. I think so. Because I like I said, you were affected too after that.
Yeah, ever since then.
It's something that's been, so what is it, can you share with us with what have you felt since then? And then we'll go back, then we'll backtrack as to what events led to that at Yorktown. Because that's the big coup de grace. That was the one that affected everybody.
Oh gosh, where do I start?
Right? From the beginning.
Well, I mean, it was right after that. I knew something followed me home. I mean, it started happening in my house. It was messing with my wife. It was messing with my daughter, who she's also gifted.
Oh, very nice.
So she sees it double time, so I got to hear it from both of them.
Oh no.
So here I go trying to re-bless the house, get it out. Things tend to kind of come to me when I'm in a really deep sleep that I can't have my wall up of protection.
Right.
And they'll get me. I mean, I've had one leave bruises down my arm.
Bruises, like physical bruises?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I think I left a big one right in the middle of my chest, like poked me.
Wow.
Like that.
What do you think it was trying to send a message or
I think
warn
they were
you?
pretty much trying to tell us, stay away. And I'm like, look, I'm not going back.
Right. Because we talked about it. We're like, oh yeah, we could go back for a tour. We could go back again, which it's a great place to go. But for some reason, I think we were just targets.
It did not like me. I mean, like I said, it called my name out. It called my profession out, and it yanked your hat off your head.
Yes, you were a witness to that. So we'll talk about that. From your perspective, what happened with the hat incident? Because I will say, if I had a hat that just fell off, or a cowboy hat, I would be like, oh, it fell off. This was a beanie pulled all the way down because I was freezing cold, and I have Hashimoto's, so I stay cold. So I kept it pulled down, and it yanked it off, and you were a witness.
I literally seen it, like you put your fingers here and pull. I literally seen the material pull like that when it yanked it off your head. I mean, because you were this close to me when it happened.
Right. I was yelling expletives. I was saying not so because I was mad. But first it went after you, and I went, ha ha.
It opened the cabinet door right next to me. I'm like, I even leaned on the door and tried to get it to open again. It wouldn't do it.
Exactly. That's you always have to debunk. But we knew, like you could feel it when you walked in that room. Like, did you feel the energy shift?
That I knew that I did not like it when I walked in there, and I do not like having the feeling. When I do not like it, that means it does not like me, and I have an issue being there if I ain't got to be.
Right. Exactly. Like that was one of the places. But it's good for all of us to go in and investigate rooms and places before we start filming, because you got to protect your team. You got to look out for each other. You don't want to go into a room where there's nothing there, but you also don't want to go into where it's going to put anyone in danger. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, the way I've told everybody is just a show. Because that's not worth people being hurt or different things. If we capture that on camera, fine. But my goal is for everyone to be safe. That's number one. So did you get any bruises? It was from this specific entity?
I think pretty much all of them had something to do with it. I mean, it's like it was threatening us, don't come back. I'm not coming back.
Right.
I don't want nothing to do with it.
Hence the chest poking.
It got me again at what was it? In Montgomery. Mm-hmm. I think it was during the Estes method. Mm-hmm. And Amy's trying to take care of Lynette because we're prepared for it this time. So I'm down there trying to keep it off of me. And what James doesn't know, I was doing everything I could not to chunk barf on his soundboard.
Oh, God.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we're grateful that you didn't do that. Thank you.
I mean, I was, all jokes aside, I was getting so physically sick to my stomach sitting down there with, on the floor in the dark. I was doing everything I could to hold it, so when it was done, I couldn't get out of the house fast enough.
Right. So tell me, what do you think the message is when you start getting sick? What is that from? What do you think causes that? Because I have seen multiple instances to where people have been caused by dark energy to actually physically vomit. And I wonder if that's from a specific spirit, if it's from residual, or what do you feel that that's from?
My first case was a demonic with an exorcism in it. So I think it was more, I think it's more to do with how strong whatever entity is, and also if they feel like they're personally slighted and actually after you.
Wow.
So I think that was more to do with personal with them.
So he was personally, or it was personally
personal, and like I said, the others, it's got to be really, really big and strong,
right,
for me to kind of get that sick feeling right there.
Because I always think of the movie The Exorcist. When the even though it's just a movie and it's entertainment, it's still that there's reports from when demons enter the body or possess a person or affect a person that it can cause physical vomiting. And I think that's kind of where they got that from. So do you feel that it was just affecting you, or did this go deeper?
I think it was affecting me, and it did go deeper because I believe it was personal for them.
Wow. Man, you pissed it off.
First night it called out my name.
I know. I was there. And then your profession right after on the spirit box. That's why I should have never mocked. You're not supposed to provoke. You're not supposed to mock. And then, of course, you're in another room and you hear me screaming. So what were your thoughts when you hear me yelling? Be honest. I know you're going to say something smart ass, so you might as well say it.
Hey, it's better than being a dumbass.
Not
again.
Not again.
That's so. Well,
I'm like, wait a minute. You have to expand on that. Not again.
So it seemed like every time in season 1. So we were filming season 1 and we learned a very important lesson from Amy, which is never leave your teammates alone.
Right.
And we took that in. So fun story. We were in the Hotel Icon filming the episode in the penthouse, and there is absolutely nothing evil at all about Hotel Icon.
No.
However, Angela was sitting on the first floor of the penthouse by herself. I'm filming B-roll, as always, up in another room on another floor. And all of the other ladies are exploring the second floor, the third floor, wherever they were, the rooftop terrace, wherever it was. A beautiful place. Like there's every reason to explore it. And Angela all of a sudden gets attacked. She gets choked by something.
Right. And it's more of a pressure on the throat is what it felt like. But I guess a lot of people see that as choking.
Absolutely. And so Amy came down and she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And
she probably said more stuff, but that's all I remember was then when she's like, are you okay? Which means she was probably trying to say other things.
Well, I'm sure she said other stuff after, are you okay?
Yeah.
Right. I don't remember a lot of it because it's almost like coming out of it.
Yeah,
kind of like, you know.
We found out the best thing you can do is just slap somebody real hard. Like, get out of here.
He did not do that. Let me just say he did not do that,
Amy
nor would he do that. Amy did not slap me either. She would never do that.
She wanted to, but she didn't.
She did not want to slap me. That is none true. Don't listen to this man on that account.
Hey, it's a true story. Or it's certainly true that it's a story. Right.
Oh my gosh,
so,
I know his line.
Yeah, well, let me tell him. Everyone else hadn't heard him yet.
It's true.
So, anyway, that happened, right? And then right after that, all the ladies came back down and joined Angela. And then one of the battery banks that we have that help to film during the things, because all of our cameras die all the time, because, you know, that's what they do.
Because they love to drain the cameras.
Right, yes, they do. The battery bank just flies off the ottoman. No one's touching it. No one's... Anyway, so that's just one example. And these have happened in multiple places where Angela... Because she's sensitive to all of those frequencies and those energies. And so when we get to Yorktown and you go, what do you think? I'm like, not again. Here we go again.
Not again.
But I'm like...
That's why I was like, what do you mean? Do I normally scream in a room going, raw?
And I'm like, yeah, that's different. Like, I've heard her be angry several times at me through the years, right? We're married. But I've never heard her start cussing and going after someone on set. Right? And
no.
I'm like, she's not the ghost bro or whatever it is. And she's not come at me, whatever. She's
a ghost bro? What is a ghost bro?
Well, do you want to get canceled?
No, I don't want to get canceled. I just assume that a ghost bro is someone that provokes. We'll go with that. We're not that. Yeah.
So, and she's not that. So when I hear that, I'm like, well, that's different. And that's usually my reaction to everything we're experiencing is, that's different. That's odd.
Yeah, it's never,
I wasn't worried that she was like dying or anything because she had all you guys around her. Right. But I'm like, that's different.
Right. So going back to Yorktown, it's coming after you. It's followed you home. Are you okay now? That's what everyone's going to want to know. Are you getting better at least?
Oh, I'm good. I mean, they're going to come and mess with me. They'll always mess with me, with us, with all of us. It's just part of the territory.
Do they come after you because you're the protector? Maybe they see your role and they kind of want to break those barriers?
I think it might have something to do with that, but also that I've delved so deep into this now that I'm continuing my education on it, and I'm not going to stop doing it.
Right.
And they don't want me to get any stronger at it, so they're going to do everything they can to put a foot in front of me to stop me from doing it. So
that makes sense.
So I'm just going to steamroll over them. I mean,
there you go. I mean, if you survived the first case, which was an exorcism, that's hardcore. And like I said, for Amy, that's a lot of trust because, she is very selective with her people. So we definitely know that you're one of the badasses now, for sure.
Working at it.
Working at it.
Working at it.
So what else did you experience behind the scene that we didn't capture on film?
Oh, gosh. You want to go...
There's so much.
Yorktown, trying to help James out, watching the batteries dying. I mean, I watched him put a brand new memory card in there, step out of the frame, and before I could count to 10, I watched the string go cut off and go, memory card dead.
Yep.
I mean, watch the battery, brand new battery put in there and just die. I watched multiple cameras just turn themselves off.
Mm-hmm. And we thought, I'll admit, we thought that was bullshit at first too, because you hear it all the time. Oh, sure, you didn't capture it on camera.
Yeah.
Sure, it drained your battery. And then, see, you saw it firsthand.
They will let you know if they don't want it on film.
Exactly.
Yes, they did. So can I expand on that?
Yeah.
So during season 1, we filmed at Demon's Road. What people don't realize is the episode that
Bad
aired.
memories for me.
The episode that aired was the second time we filmed at Demon's Road. Because the very first time we filmed, we actually had the whole SPI team on, all 6 members of the SPI team.
And we had great activity.
And we had great activity, and it was fun and fantastic, and all of that fun stuff, right? And it was 7 members. Sorry.
I was gonna say, you're leaving people out, Jay.
All right. I've been hit in the head a lot in my lifetime. Anyway, so it was a pretty good night. We were excited about it. It came out well. We're like, this is some really fun activity, right? And so we get home. I plop every single card. Every single card was wiped. Mm-hmm. Every single one. We're running 6 cameras. Every single one of them was wiped. I didn't have a magnet around it anywhere. I keep it in the same cases that I put them in every single time, and they were all wiped out. And I go, I guess this isn't bullshit.
Right?
And then that was maybe the 3rd time I quit the show.
Right. Well, I actually have my cell phone. A lot of times, if I can record behind the scenes stuff, because I want people to see what we're doing behind the scenes, so you can see how we're set up and see it. And I recorded. You can see the camera's recording, so it's not like it was user error. He didn't press record on 6 cameras, and I was livid, because I was like, I was blaming him, mad at myself, going, what is happening here? But so you've seen it yourself. I think we had 2 cameras wiped that time, like completely wiped, didn't we?
I don't know how many batteries and cards I've seen.
It was a lot.
Gone, dead. It was a bunch.
So why do you feel that they wiped those? Is it because they don't want to be seen?
I think that has something to do with it.
Do you think it could be also they're borrowing and using all the energy as well?
That was going to be my next thing, is they probably use some of the energy, but also being where we were, spite.
Really? Yeah.
Spite.
Being hateful.
Exactly.
It was bad. Like I said, there were so many things I saw there that's just not. It's hard to explain, like what you hear, the auditory stuff, and recording that, and then stuff that I see, like, because no one else can see the preacher sitting there, and I see him sitting there.
Yeah, you could see him sitting there. I could hear him if he said something.
Yep.
He pulls your hat off your head. He really did not like me whatsoever.
Man. And I wonder why he targeted you, though. I mean, you're a nice guy. I don't get it.
He looks weird and smells funny.
That's just
I
you.
do.
That's you.
I do.
No, just kidding. No, just, I don't know. It's just one of those that was really intense. And after filming all that and experiencing that, what keeps you going? Like, because you've been through hell and back. You're bruised, you're vomiting. You've gone through the hardcore stuff that would make other people quit. I mean, we've seen people quit with flashlights turning on, going, oh, a flashlight turned on, and then it's done because they realize it's real. What keeps you going?
You could not stop me if you threw the front gates of hell at me.
Wow. Oh, now they heard that. Now they heard that.
For the record, Todd is talking about anywhere outside of this studio. He is not challenging you here tonight at all.
This is not at this home.
I spent my entire life being terrorized from a child all the way up into adulthood to get to where I am now, to figure out what I was capable of, and to know that I can help other people get away from that and help them with that problem is what keeps pushing me on, which makes me a very unique member of the team, because as being a former client, I can look at it from the other side of the mirror and go, hey, that was me standing there. That was my wife and kids saying the exact same thing.
Right.
I know what they went through. I went through that hell. So I will never stop.
That is amazing. That is the best answer I have ever heard. And that is what makes you a very, very, very valuable person in that team. That's incredible. And we're glad to have you on the show too, because I can't count how many times I was like, Todd, I need your help with with things that were happening even outside of Yorktown. You know, because I always thought that things are just inside the building. But spirits, if they can follow you home, they can follow you outside the building. They can follow your car. We had an incident happen with our car before we got there. And I think James can tell you about that. They say weird things happen before you get to Yorktown. And he had that happen to him.
So Yorktown, we had a really interesting experience before we get there. So we were going to the gas station that we literally go to every single day or every other day, whatever it is we fill up.
Well, that gas guzzler every day.
We drive a big car. It's a gas guzzler, right? We live in Texas. We love our gas guzzlers.
Yes, we do.
So I go to that gas station to fill it up, and all of a sudden, I put the pump in, and it's just acting a little weird. And I've been to this pump 100 times, like this year probably. And it just starts acting a little weird, going really, really slow. And I'm like, well, that's different.
Yeah.
You know, it's my normal reaction. Mm-hmm. I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm like, well, eventually this thing will fill up, right? And so it goes and goes and goes. I'm like, okay, it seems like it should be about the time to stop now. This is kind of weird. And then all of a sudden, the gas just starts spewing out of the gas tank. Yep. And it gets all over my clothes. Wow. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, this hadn't happened to me in 20 years. Like, it happened to me once when I was driving a car from the 80s, right? And it hasn't happened to me in any new type of vehicle since this has been happening. And it shouldn't be happening in a 2020s vehicle. And
yeah, that's different.
And it just spews out, gets all over the thing. I'm like, well, screw it. We still got to go because we're running late.
And I'm
we're
like,
supposed to meet.
We got to drive back home.
Yeah, we're supposed to meet Eddie there like in 3.5 hours, and it takes us 4 hours to get there. So I'm like, I'm already running behind, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves anyway. So she made me turn around, and we went back home, and I changed, thank God, because otherwise it would have been a really long car ride.
That would have been a bad car ride.
No.
But it's one of those weird things. Hasn't ever happened. Well, it's like happened to me before, but it hasn't happened to me in 20 years, and it probably not happen to me ever again. And it's that really weird thing of we're going to this really weird energy place, and then all of a sudden something that's unexplainable just happens.
But we've been told that before you go to locations that things can happen. Have you had any experience with that as well?
Pretty much almost every time.
Really?
I mean, it might be something subtle. I might have a feeling about something. I might have a crazy, what we call lucid dream in the middle of the night.
Wow.
That will turn out to actually come out to be something to do with the case we're working on. Wow. You know, later down the line, you don't put 2 and 2 together until later on.
Right.
So I've learned to kind of start listening to them a little more.
There you go. So you're intuitive as well then, with all the if you have the dreams and everything ahead of time?
Yeah, it's just several little things. I mean, it's just a little of this, a little of that just drop in here and there. It's not hey, I'm going to do this today or I'm going to do this today. It just, as they come.
Right. Do you feel like all of these gifts and abilities that you have, do you feel like they're getting stronger now that you have more time and experience?
They're building.
Very nice. That's really cool. So with working with SPI and filming the show, do you feel that, this is where you're meant to be for the rest of your life? Like, this is what you're going to do?
It is.
100%.
Unless Amy ties me and throws me in the river with a rock and runs me off, says I can't come back no more. But
right.
I'll crawl out and chase her anyways to go. So
there we go. You're like, either way, I'm coming back.
But no, I wouldn't do anything else. This is where I'm meant to be. That's
amazing. And we've loved having you on the show, and especially that you can help behind the scenes and all this stuff. And then pretty soon that SPI will be having their own show coming up. So now you've got some experience filming with James. So are you ready for the task?
I'm stoked for that. I think that'd be great. It needs to get out there a lot more of what we actually do, because all these other shows that they fake stuff so much on TV that you've seen, they're just generic one after another, and it just kind of puts a black eye on what we actually do.
Right, for sure.
And I'd like to change that.
And it's hard to find because, after filming a show, that just like we used to watch a lot of the different ghost shows, it's hard to know what's real and not real because we're not there. So I know that people probably see even this show and be like, oh, they had to have faked this. You're always going to get
Exactly.
that. And thanks to AI, a ghost could manifest like right here in the studio and sit here and we'd finally see it and people be like, oh, that's AI.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
Unfortunately.
there's nothing you can do.
And I can honestly say, since the day we started, that was one of the things that was most important to us, is that we never fabricate a thing.
Exactly.
It is just a telling. And even if it's boring, I'd rather it be boring than fake.
Exactly.
Or boring than unreal. And
Exactly.
sometimes, guess
Yep,
what? When
yep.
you go ghost hunting, nothing happens. And so
We've seen that.
it frustrates me when that happens.
Right.
But we go, okay, I guess we're going to show that nothing happened this time.
Right.
But
Come on, you can move.
Right.
You
It's
can
like,
move. You can do it.
right.
And it's just that authenticity that brings it. And that's, we would live and die by that sword,
Right.
of authenticity.
So that's what I was afraid of with season 1. I thought that people were going to be tuning out because it was just there wasn't anything grandiose that happened on camera because James is trying to set up a camera and stuff's already going off. And then you can see Amy going, crap, don't set up the equipment before the cameras roll. It's like, it's the conflict of, because trying to merge with true paranormal investigators and with us just beginning and trying to film, there was like the learning curve for all of us. And then by the time, like I said, we got to season 2, I think we really hit the ground running after what we learned from filming season 1. Now all this activity is happening on camera, and I'm so afraid everybody's going to go, sure it did. And they're going to think we're making it up. But I mean, you can't fake all the things that are happening here. Like there's just
there's
no
no
way.
way to.
Like, I mean, you even with your phone, right? Your phone that you captured that picture.
Oh, yes. I caught the shadow figure from the choir balcony at Yorktown.
And how are you going to fake that? That was like, you took the succession, I think it was three pictures. Always 3 pictures. It's not there, then it's there,
Then it's gone.
and it's not there. Because we did have people that saw that picture and they go, oh, somebody's got to be standing. It's like, no way. That was sectioned off.
It's what,
up at
like
the top.
1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. It was dark. There's no light source coming from that room. There's
Correct.
no way you can put a shadow from that room outwards onto a door.
Exactly. So, I mean, even just that, a regular cell phone, we're capturing
Yep.
stuff. That's why I feel like that, hopefully as we keep continuing, we capture more and more. So what is your goal? Like, what have you seen that you didn't believe in until the show, since you're the heavy skeptic? Because before you were like, I know there's something, but you just really weren't. You were just kind of like, whatever, I'll film it. If we catch something, we catch something.
Right. There's more that needs to be explored. And I think we don't have the way to capture it at this point. Just, I don't know if technology's there, but there's something to it. Like even the greatest inventors of our time, Thomas Edison, was trying to invent a phone that could talk to his relatives of the past who had passed away. Nikola Tesla, the godfather of electricity, was trying to invent a similar type of device that
Right.
could communicate with the other side. So these are some of the smartest guys in the history of the world, right?
Right.
They changed our planet fundamentally. So when you consider things like that, and then you start trying to apply some scientific theory to it, there's something that makes sense. And, without, hopefully I can go into this without boring
Right.
everybody. Really. But
No, I love
So-
that aspect of it.
Right.
so my theory goes, is it's just an energy spectrum, right? And that's the best I can see right now. And
That
some
makes sense.
people can see like the energy, and some people can't, because we all see different things, and
Right.
we know this. So, as an example, colorblind people can't see color, but when they have kids, they pass an extra chromosome onto their kids, who can then see 10 times the amount of color that a normal person can see.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow.
So their
Interesting.
spectrum goes like this. It's incredible, right?
Wow.
Look at X-rays as another example. We know that X-rays and gamma rays exist, but
Exactly.
we can't see them.
Absolutely.
But we know that they exist, and we can capture them with our technology now. So what if spirit is simply that, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all energy. We're just atoms
100%.
moving really, 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 really fast. And that's it. And so what's to say that it's just an atom moving at a different speed that we can't see,
Exactly.
right? And
Just
then
a different spectrum.
There you go.
exactly, and that's kind of what it's like to me. And then how do we explain why normal people can see ghosts.
Normies.
Yeah, the normies like us, right? And so when we go back to our high school science lessons, for those who went to high school and actually paid attention, when you
Not me.
when you supercharge an atom, the electrons, so there's the electron clouds. If I'm losing you, let me know. But
Just me a little bit because I'm
I was
going.
pretty good in science. So I'm
Good.
following
Okay,
you.
so
I'm
he's
following
there.
you.
So Todd. So you have
I'm like-
a certain amount of electrons on each electron cloud, and then you go out and extending levels, right? And they have various amounts of electrons. When you supercharge that electron, you can have, or when you supercharge that particle, you can have an electron jump to a different electron cloud only momentarily before it loses that energy and jumps back down to its normal state. What if that explains ghosts? Is that we see them for 2 or 3 seconds because they get supercharged and jump into a spectrum, but then go back to their normal state of being.
Ooh,
I love that explanation.
that's interesting.
So,
I have to say, that's pretty interesting.
Einstein and Tesla were trying to do.
right, they are much smarter people than me, right?
sure me.
I shoot videos.
It's like I shoot videos.
But they can actually give an intelligent response on top of it.
Right.
Right.
Which brings a whole new element to the energy part. So
Exactly. That's why I think that, we're slowly catching up to that, to where we can produce that. Because, I mean, like I said, I was trying to debunk the flashlights for myself because I was like, no way. Like, I knew nothing was rigged up. Like, I've never seen people rigging up flashlights, especially you have to turn them. But I didn't understand. Like, I was like, there's got to be some science behind it. And then sure enough, I'm setting up flashlights and it's going off and on with answers only. I'm like, okay.
intelligent response.
Intelligent response. Like, even the biggest thing I was skeptical on at first was ghost apps. And I'll tell you why. Because we went on a haunted tour in New Orleans. And they all had this app. And I mean, it just said, I'm sorry, it just said the dumbest stuff. It was like, I'm dead. Like, oh, okay. Well, that was
Really?
programmed in there. It's like, I'm a spirit. Okay. Like, and then it was just, none of it was intelligent responses. Like, it was really, it bored me to tears, but I thought it was cute. And then even my daughter's laughing and we're just like playing with it. So I started trying to research a little bit about some of these apps. Like, if they can use the energy from an SB7 or an SB11 or a TV or a radio, that why can't they use an app? And it's like, so I started practicing with different ones. And then when I found one, the Ghost Tube, you were a witness to that one, that suddenly...
I had mine on at the same time.
Yep.
It started on my phone and then finished the sentence on your phone.
Right. Because I can't tell you, I see how many people ghost hunt with the apps, and it's like, I'm dead. I'm like, oh, and
You
I just
don't
sit there, I try to go, okay. Like, I don't want to demystify that. Maybe some of those are accurate, but Ghost Tube was one of the only ones I am getting intelligent responses. Like, it said your name.
Yeah.
Like, that's not programmed into there. And then I'm going, James, and then it goes, James, and mocks me. And I went, okay, so
that's
this
when
is...
you went off on it.
Right.
If there's anyone who's going to mock my wife, it's going to be me.
Oh. God. Anyways. Right. That's a true story. But no, that's why I said that. I think that Amy and I, she wants the true tested type of things with SPI. So I know that you guys use the 100%, that there can be no question with that. And I've been trying to expand to, I think we used the music box this year for the like a REM pod. I'm sure you've seen that.
Yep.
That one has been intelligent.
I had to repair that one night with an O-ring.
I was going to say.
For a rubber band.
But I think they've got now like a ghost bell. I think that's a new one
I've
that's
seen
been
that.
coming out. And I think that if we just keep pushing, we can get to these things to where they really can fully communicate with us. Like, maybe be able to see them. So speaking of seeing them, so what is your favorite tool to use when you are exploring the paranormal?
The ones on the inside. I like to be able to walk through a room, and I mean, it's nice to get an intelligent response, but just to walk through and feel it, I just like to, see what I feel,
Right.
what I sense on it.
Very nice. And your own feelings and
Your
senses.
own personal feelings and experience are going to tell you more of a true, whatever's going on than anything else is.
Very true. I like that answer too. I like to trust myself. I like to trust and then verify and then debunk and then go back. And then if I can't explain it, then it's the possibility of being something paranormal.
Yeah, no, listen, the other equipment is for me is just more of a debunk or verify at that point.
Exactly. I totally agree. So I've got a good question for both of you. And I'm going to start with I'll start with the skeptic first. Is there anything that has scared you or would scare you while you're out there filming or investigating with us?
Anything that has scared me? No.
I know. Yeah, I can answer that one. No.
Anything that could scare me? Maybe.
That I want to know. What would scare you? Like nothing bothers you. What would scare you? Like something coming at you with red eyes? I mean.
Maybe.
I feel like you just go, huh?
That's generally my response to things. But I don't know.
He snored with the demons.
He did. He snored.
Well, you
in
gotta
the
tell the story so people have context.
It sounds better that way.
Actually, I like his version better. It sounds way better to leave it up to a mystery.
So, in Yorktown.
That's all of our stories. In
his defense, he was wiped out, man.
There was literally 20 hours of filming straight at that point, and I was crawling on the pew in the chapel in Yorktown because I was trying to get to a camera to make sure that it was still running. And so I got there, and I'm like, okay, this camera's still running. And then I was laying down, so I was out of the view of the other camera, and I was laying down, and that was the mistake. And I just go...
Yep, that's the second he laid down.
And, like, I can see it on the far camera. Like, within, 3 minutes of me laying down, I was out. Like, out. My body just gave up.
And we all thought he was demon-possessed.
Yeah, everyone runs over to me. I'm like, no, I'm just tired and grouchy. This is just my face. Like...
All the time.
Is that James?
Somebody is.
James. What the James, you asleep? You're snoring. Like you were snoring on it, dude. You've got Amy over here, but you're snoring on camera.
And then Lynette got so mad at me that night too.
We all were. Well, everyone was upset because it was just so much. Like in this, the energy was not positive.
Someone had a bright idea of going, we're going to film 7 scenes tonight. 7 scenes. Keep in mind, we normally film 3. Who in the first season we filmed 3 in a night, and then we were going to try to expand it to 4 to start the second season.
Hey, I was trying to push it, man.
Someone goes, we're going to film 7 scenes.
It's great walking backwards down the stairs in the dark holding a 10-foot mic. Just saying.
Right. And so by that point, I was exhausted. So everyone got mad at me because we didn't finish our 7 scenes. But
well, it was a lot. It was probably best. I think it was best. It was 19 degrees. I was like, I'm never filming in 19 degrees ever again.
Damn.
But so nothing scares you.
I don't know. I don't know what I don't know.
Right.
That's the best way to say it. I'm sure if there was some ghost child who had red eyes that started running at me with a knife, or all of a sudden,
black eyes.
I'd probably try and run and scream like a little girl. But I don't know.
I have never seen you scared, like ever.
I don't know what I don't know.
I've never seen him scared since we've been together.
People scare me. That's the thing, because they're unpredictable.
So the living.
They're unpredictable. You don't know if someone's going to pull out a knife and try and stab you. Like, my physical safety is the biggest thing that's going to concern me, or the physical safety of those around me. And because I don't experience the world like you guys do, I don't feel like I'm in danger being around spirits.
Okay.
And maybe it's because I'm ghost repellent or whatever it is.
Be.
Or maybe I'm just ignorant. And one day one ghost is going to be like, aha, I got you now, bitch. And I'm like, and it could happen, right? But until I experience that, I'm in my little bubble, right?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm protected because of everything I've done in my life. Who knows? Or maybe I have some guardian angel on my shoulder looking over me and say, don't touch this one. We've got plans. Or something along those lines.
Never know.
You never know, right? So I don't know what I don't know. And I won't know until I experience it.
You used to have your people around you.
I did.
I was the man in the hat. That's why I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. So I used to feel my grandfather through my teenage years. He died when I was 15. And so I felt his presence with me up until I was about 30. And then I got married to her. It's your fault.
Oh, it's my fault. I knew it.
And then he went away.
Because he said, you're good now. I got you.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
It's weird because I've never been one of those people who feel that type of thing.
But you're getting there. Like from what I've seen, you're starting to have that intuition. That's why I asked Todd earlier, does you feel like it's growing with your skills and abilities when you're around gifted people and around the paranormal more?
Yeah, and I absolutely think it will grow. Just being around it. I mean, like my wife, for instance, she's got to this point now where she can tell you, hey, there's something in the house. There's something in the back bedroom. Go deal with it.
Right.
Whereas before she'd be like, something just feels off. Now she can tell you definitely for sure there's something there. So it will expand.
What are you laughing
Yay
about?
for you.
No, it's just when you have a sophomoric sense of humor, everything he just said is hilarious.
What?
I already know where he's going.
I don't want to know where either of y'all. This is why I have women only on my show generally.
My wife is feeling something in the back bedroom.
It expanded.
It expanded on her.
Oh. Lord have mercy. Why?
That part.
Why? This is why
keeping
we
that
have.
one in. We're expanding the reach of the Ghost Hunting Beauties.
My wife's gonna be like, oh my God.
Yeah, God help us. James, stop. He went to the next stop. No. So expanding on the first question I asked James, has anything ever terrified you? Or if it hasn't, what would be something that is the most terrifying thing you could experience?
Well, he kind of stole my answer because I was going to say the living.
The living?
Because I don't get terrified anymore because I was terrified my entire life from a child all the way up until almost being a 50-year-old adult. So I'm not terrified no more.
Right.
Nothing scares me anymore except for the living that are idiots.
I completely agree. The living are way scarier than the dead, if you ask me. Although the demonic stuff that was at Yorktown scared the life out of me.
They concern me a little bit, but I have a team that has my back. So
Yes, you do. Got SPI.
and I will put Amy on his ass.
That's right. I completely agree. So that was one of the wrap-up questions I have. What I would ask one more though, and then we'll wrap everything up, is how do you feel that season 2, from your experience behind the camera, is different than season 1? Why should people tune in for season 2?
Sure. We've gotten a lot more activity in front of the camera and not just behind the camera this season. So that's always a good thing. There's a lot of interesting stuff that happened. And I'm just hoping that we can put it together in a format that people will enjoy watching. From when we started the show, it wasn't ever supposed to be a jump scare ghost show. We weren't trying to do what everyone else did. It was a history show that I don't know if anyway, behind the scenes, right? We were a history show that wanted to explore the history through ghost hunting. And so it was a little bit different than everybody else out there.
Right. A lot of focus on haunted history.
Right. And so I'm hoping that we capture it and tell the stories, and we can do those stories justice for an accurate telling of them, because authenticity is so important to us as creators and creatives and ghost hunters, and it brings the authenticity to the brand for both of them.
So what makes season 2 better?
Is that there's more authentically that happens. Mm-hmm. So the thing that I was not a fan of necessarily in season 1, it was great that we went and explored it. It was great that we told these stories, but we did the same types of things in the different types of places, and we got the different answers, and we could tell the story.
But we didn't push enough.
But we didn't push enough. And one of the things that we've done in season 2 versus season 1 is we've expanded with the techniques that we've done.
True.
We've expanded with the questions that we've asked, right? And we've really got to the heart of the story of what we've been told of, this is what happened here. Do you think you can communicate with this? And then lo and behold, we reach them.
Right.
And then the answers you get, sometimes you're just like, oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. And that's season 2 in a nutshell.
Pretty much. Oh, what do you feel since you've watched season 1 and then now you've been filming behind the scenes and you know what happened with season 2?
I think everybody's going to enjoy it. This is going to be pretty good. I mean, you got a lot of action, a lot of evidence caught on video, I wish we could have caught a lot of it off of video that we
Right.
missed, but it's going to be very exciting.
All right. Well, I think that definitely sums it up. I want to thank you both for coming in. We've got the ladies sitting here, but it's nice to have the behind the scenes guys who are seeing the action that no one else sees. So thank y'all both for sharing both of your experiences. And for everybody who is watching, we want you to like, comment, and share. What do you think about what's happening from what we're telling you from season 2? Do you agree, disagree with some of the things going on? Don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you don't miss a thing. So stay tuned because this season is going to be fantastic.